Mick Cornett's campaign makes a pit stop in Norman. An OU student is on the ballot for Norman City Council, and a nonprofit looks to hold Oklahoma officials accountable. This is OU Nightly. Welcome to OU Nightly. Oklahoma City's Mayor Mick Cornett found himself back at the University of Oklahoma today. Cornett is a graduate of the university, but today's visit had little to do with his time in college.
That's right. Mayor Cornett was on campus because he is currently running for governor. Headington College hosted Cornett for a lunch and learn, and OU Nightly's JC Bayless takes us inside the event.
Mayor Mick Cornett visited the University of Oklahoma today for a lunch and learn. Mayor Cornett is running for governor and was happy to visit his alma mater.
Well, it's great to be back on campus, and I'm running for governor of the state of Oklahoma, so it's an opportunity to visit with students and faculty about the needs of higher education.
Keith Gaddy, senior fellow of Headington College, invited Mayor Cornett to speak and interact with students and faculty.
I'd asked him to come down and have lunch and just visit with some students and talk about whatever he wanted to.
Cornett talked about his past, successes in Oklahoma City, and about what he believes should be Oklahoma's main concerns.
Health and education are two areas that we've let our standards slip, and until we fully address health and education and change the standard, raise the standard for what we accept in health and education, we're not going to have that great trajectory of an economy going forward.
While faculty and students were in attendance, a short Q&A took place after Cornett spoke. And some think that these types of events are the best way to reach the community.
Oh, I think it's absolutely important, especially because a lot of us are of voting age, or at least really interested. These people might be people who become interns or get involved on a different level, and it's kind of the best way to get informed. So I really appreciate it. Elections will be in November 2018, and Mayor Cornett said he is confident in his ability to win. JC Bayless, OU Nightly.
This is the first of many lunch and learns where Gaddy plans to bring in every member running for governor.
And one OU student is making a comeback in the Norman City Council. Political science junior Tracy Baker has declared her candidacy. Baker ran last year for Ward 7, and she's back to try to win Ward 2. Baker says she wants to address Norman water quality, infrastructure, and an issue she says has been plaguing Norman since her last run.
Level, I think something that really needs to happen, and something that still hasn't happened, which kind of angers me, is addressing the stormwater issue here in Norman. It's damaging people's homes, it's damaging people's cars, it's an inconvenience to everyone, it's an environmental hazard, it's something that needs to be addressed. I campaigned with that as one of my major focuses last year. No progress at all has been made on that front.
OU student Dion Osborne was also running for the Ward 2 seat, but last week withdrew from the race. Elections for Norman City Council will be held in February.
The Campaign for Accountability is suing Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter for refusing to release a special audit into criminal allegations connected to the state's effort to clean up heavily polluted communities in northwest Oklahoma. The Washington, D.C.-based Campaign for Accountability filed the lawsuit Monday against Hunter, the auditor and inspector Gary Jones. Jones' office conducted the audit in 2011 at the request of former Attorney General Scott Pruitt, who is now head of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. After the audit's completion, Pruitt ordered not for it to not be released. The audit looked into suspected unlawful contracting practices of a state trust involved in a buyout of residents in the lead-polluted communities. Hunter's office has yet to comment.
Sammy, December is coming up fast,
Sure
but
is.
those temperatures don't feel like it. Carolyn, what's going on?
It's hot.
It's very hot out there. In fact, if you're out in the Panhandle, you're still in the mid-80s. Here in central Oklahoma, we're in the lower 70s. This is due to a very strong southerly wind. It's been gusting up to 25 miles an hour. This is going to keep us warm overnight. We're only going to drop into the mid-50s. Coming up, we've got another windy day as a cold front blows through, and we're finally going to see some rain here in Oklahoma.
Thank you, Caroline. Harley Toothman joins us with the latest on the controversy surrounding the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Harley.
There's a fight over who's leading the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. President Donald Trump's choice, Mick Mulvaney, late today imposed a 30-day freeze on hiring and issuing new rules. The former CFPB director named Leander English as the replacement. English is now suing the Trump administration, claiming a law bans Trump from appointing a director. A court decision will determine who stays and who goes. Trump and Senate Republicans made changes today to the tax bill in hopes of winning over the GOP senators. The revised bill will reduce top corporate and business tax rates. Trump and Senate leaders are trying to balance demands because some senators fear the bill would add to the nation's debt. Trump hosted Republican members of the Senate Finance Committee at the White House today, and Senate said the plan is to vote on the current tax bill this week. But as of today, GOP leaders were still trying to get votes in the Senate to pass the bill. Minnesota's Democratic Senator Al Franken spoke out today about the sexual allegations against him.
I'm going to try to learn from my mistakes. And in doing so, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I want to be someone who adds something to this conversation. And I hope I can do that.
Franken vows to regain the trust of his colleagues, staff, and the people of Minnesota. Franken dismissed talk about resigning from the Senate and said he would cooperate with an ethics committee investigation. Pope Francis arrived in Myanmar today. Many refugees who have been flooding into Bangladesh to escape Myanmar military say they are hopeful the Pope's visit will bring peace. The Myanmar government has repeatedly denied allegations of violence against Rohingya. However, the U.S. have accused Myanmar of ethnic cleansing. Francis will spend 3 days in Myanmar before visiting Bangladesh on Thursday, where he's expected to meet some of the Rohingya refugees. And Sammi, Francis is the first pope to ever visit Southeast Asian nation.
Thanks, Harley. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol will have a new chief later this week. Ricky Adams has been serving as chief since 2013 and is retiring Friday. He'll be succeeded by Michael Harrell. Harrell previously worked in Enid, Pawnee, Muskogee, and Tulsa.
Still ahead on OU Nightly. Most businesses cashed in on Black Friday, but Norman's small businesses, that was a different story.
That's right. Plus, people's wallets weren't the only thing locked and loaded Black Friday. We'll have more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. After a record-setting Black Friday, small businesses' Saturday sales in Norman were lower than expected. Black Friday sales skyrocketed due to online sales totaling over $5 billion. While most retailers considered Black Friday a success, local businesses in Norman were underwhelmed by sales on Small Business Saturday.
Our Black Friday sales were nearly doubled what they had been last year and even in the past. However, our Small Business Saturday sales were down by nearly 40%. That may be due to the early OU football game that day and the traffic that tends to go that direction.
Cyber Monday sales are expected to exceed $6 billion.
And after spending the day eating turkey with their in-laws, many Americans went to buy guns. Coincidence? I think not. Abby Green joins us now in business with more. Abby.
Shoppers brought out the big guns for Black Friday this year. Friday was the biggest day on record for FBI background checks. The fall hunting season and the holidays always combine to make Black Friday a big day for gun purchases. The FBI reported 203,000 background checks for gun sales this year. Last year's total was 185,000 checks. And Cyber Monday is happening now and on its way to break some records. As of 9 a.m. this morning, $840 million had already been spent online. That's almost a 17% increase from last year. Web traffic was up 12% by mid-morning, and toys were a part of some of the biggest discounts. Adobe predicts that today's Cyber Monday sales will surpass $6.5 billion. And if you're looking to stock up, you're in luck. Just for today, Target is offering 15% off everything on its website. The 15% off deal takes effect in addition to other Cyber Monday deals, such as 30% off items such as kids' clothes and shoes, sweaters, boots, and more. Target is also offering deals on various electronics and $20 in gift cards if you purchase the Beats X or Beats EP headphones. Well, it looks like I'll be doing some online shopping today.
Oh, I'm already a Target fanatic, so you add a sale to it, and wow, all the better.
You and me both.
Better.
100% agree.
Wow, really? Joe, I was a little
No,
surprised
absolutely
there.
not.
I
I just live off the land.
Oh, okay,
All right,
okay.
thank you so much, Abby.
Thanks, Abby. The Supreme Court refused today to take up the case of Quinton Butter. Butter, a juvenile at the time, was convicted of rape and several other charges. He received 3 consecutive life sentences plus 20 years. Under Oklahoma law, he'd have to serve almost 132 years before being eligible for parole. Earlier this year, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that sentence violates a Supreme Court ruling, which forbids life without parole sentences for juvenile non-homicide offenders. The appeals court has ordered Oklahoma courts to resentence Butter.
And the State Corrections Department ended its contract to house state prisoners in county jails, and as a result, those county jails are up for auction. In total, 10 county jails are expected to end contracts, and after the Corrections Department lost revenue last spring, this move is expected to free up more than $700,000 for other needs. And still ahead on OU Nightly, the Sooners are knocking on the door of a CFB playoff berth.
Plus, Caroline Brown is standing by with more on this week's weather.
Coming through tomorrow, I've got more details after the break. Happy Monday and welcome back to OU Nightly. It's been a beautiful day here on campus. This is a view outside the Bizzo Library. Currently, we're at 73 with very strong winds coming from the south at 22 miles per hour. Now, these clear skies are help us fall in the temperatures tonight. We're going to be dipping into the lower 50s. 40s out there in the Panhandle. It's going to be very gusty though. We could get gusts up to 35 miles an hour. So tomorrow while you're walking to class, it's still going to be very windy. We're only going to be warming up into the mid 60s. Now tomorrow afternoon we have another cold front blowing through, giving us another chance for rain. So here's the cold front blowing through on Tuesday. This is going to give us very gusty conditions out there in western Oklahoma. This is actually going to elevate our fire risk. So if you're out there in Diamond and Shattuck, definitely be aware of open fires on Tuesday. Tuesday evening in northeast Oklahoma, we're going to have a rain chance start, and it's going to continue through Wednesday evening. We could see from a quarter to half an inch of rain, so localized flooding is possible. Another cold front blows through on Thursday, making it very chilly for us here in the state. Out there in the Panhandle, they're going to be dipping below the freezing line, so make sure you bring delicate plants inside overnight. But for tomorrow, it's going to be a very gusty day with a cold front blowing through in the evening, giving us a cold morning on Wednesday, but a very nice day. Now, we're going to be having another cold front blow through on Thursday, giving us a cool rest of our week, but we're going to begin a warm-up period for the upcoming week.
A warm-up period. You'd think by the time that we reached early December that we would be over that.
Yeah, those weather temperatures right there, the lows, the highs, that seems pretty cool for what we're in right now. So,
I'm glad that a cold front is coming through.
I try.
Thanks, Caroline. And the football team played and won on Owen Field for the final time this season. Tori Johnson has more on the Sooner win over West Virginia. Tori?
The third year in a row, OU football has not lost during this month. And Trey Young is experiencing a different kind of freshman 15. A pretty historical one, actually. He is the 15th Sooner to ever score at least 40 points in a game. I've got more up next. Hey, don't go anywhere. Sports is right around the corner. It was the Sooner seniors' last time in the Palace on the Prairie, and they went out with a bang. Kyler Murray got the start, and in only 2 plays, OU scored their first touchdown on the Mountaineers. Then Lincoln Riley took Baker Mayfield out of timeout. The stadium went crazy for the Heisman favorite. In the 59-31 win, Rodney Anderson ran in 4 touchdowns, and Austin Seibert has been named the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. My guys Reagan, Ledbetter, and Carson Williams have more on the win.
One final regular season game here on Owen Field for the 2017 season. OU beats West Virginia 59-31. Reagan, today all about Baker Mayfield.
Yes, it was. You know, all the talk around him being suspended. How long was he going to be out? His senior day, last game here. A lot of emotions running wild. And then he's out for one series, comes in, and has a day.
Yeah, 14 of 17, 281 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Give him the Heisman now. You can go ahead and start building the statue over here at Heisman Park. It's all his. But here's what OU had to say after the game.
I played a good game tonight, and that's because I had the support of those guys throughout the week of practice and the staff, and they told me just to keep being myself and just go to work. That no matter what happens, they're going to have my back, and that's a relieving feeling, knowing that I have family like that.
I was proud of him. I thought he held it in check because he was definitely emotional, you know, before, and I know a lot of thoughts certainly running through his head during, and so for him to play the way he did was, you know, considering all the circumstances, was, again, it's why the guy's the best.
Baker Mayfield may go down as the best quarterback OU's ever had, possibly even OU's best player. And Reagan, he said that they're not done yet. They still have 3 games left starting next week in Arlington against TCU for the Big 12 title game.
He made it very clear after the game there's 3 more games to his season. This isn't the last game. Everybody wants to talk about his last game here, but that doesn't matter. People want to talk about the Heisman. That doesn't matter. He came here. He said last year at the end of the season, before the last game, that he came here to win a national title.
Don't go anywhere. We will have you covered next week in Arlington for the Big 12 title game. For Reagan Ledbetter, I'm Carson Williams.
It has been a wild few days for college football coaches. Dan Mullen leaves Mississippi State to go back to Florida, where he was offensive coordinator. Chip Kelly returns to the Pac-12 at UCLA. Tennessee backs out of a deal with Greg Schiano after social media uproar over his alleged involvement in the Penn State scandal. Texas A&M parts ways with head coach Kevin Sumlin. And to add insult to injury, Arkansas fires Brett Bielema before he even got off the field following their loss to Mizzou. And for the second time in only the first 3 weeks of the season, freshman phenom Trey Young has been named Big 12 Player of the Week. He averaged 34 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals in the PK 80, and in the final game of the weekend, he racked up 43 points. It is the most points scored throughout the NCAA so far, and the second highest scoring by a Sooner in 23 seasons, second only to the beloved Buddy Hield. You can catch Trey and the Sooners at home Thursday night at 7 in a matchup with North Texas. And a scuffle under the basket resulted in Alabama's entire bench getting tossed, then an injury, then a foul out. Left the Crimson tied with 3 players for the final 10 minutes against Minnesota. Colin Sexton, Galen Smith, Riley Norris, the last standing, actually outscored the Gophers in the final 3-on-3 matchup. They lost 89-84.
Well, if that doesn't just speak so highly of that team, I don't know what does.
Maybe they should play with 3 players more often.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, to only lose by 5 with 3 players for the whole last 10 minutes?
No kidding.
No subs.
Well, we will be right back. Thanks for watching OU Nightly.
Good night.